60.2%. But insofar as women is concerned, at senior management level, we're hitting the 57% in senior management, and therefore quite impressive in terms of what we've actually attained. We have talked about the kinds of courses that we offer in terms of the FSTDI and the e-learning function that we have also introduced throughout the Free State provincial government, and much of that also been extended to your municipalities, has been very important for us. Of course, the graduation lately in terms of recognition of prior learning and the attainment of many of our public servants attaining the national diploma in public administration. It's one of the things that we're also offering. We continue at the same time, honorable members, to offer integrated learning, but also internship programs. And currently, there's about 25 engineering graduate internships, and this will be placed in all the 5 districts. SCAR skills very important for us, and therefore we're looking at your engineering has been urban and regional planning has been very important, and those are the kinds of skills that to a greater extent we're actually looking at now. On page 4, in terms of policy coordination and strategic initiatives, participation is very important in the national dialogue, right? And making sure that we begin to shape those discussions in terms of the trajectory of the country, but also bringing everybody along. Therefore, civil society being part of that, and that's the number of delegation of the people that we also have as part of that. Again, the emphasis as part of the work that the Premier will be doing later today, the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence as well as femicide, the monitoring and the implementation of that, insofar as the provincial gender machinery, implementation of that, coordination of gender activities, also support. But most importantly, how do we also begin to change the minds of society insofar as actually gender is concerned, being part of the work of this forum, and is quite functional also in all the districts, has been very important. We continue, honourable members, to work with Infrastructure South Africa on a couple of projects. I mean, we can begin to mention the removal of asbestos in your Machabeng area, asbestos pipe in your Machabeng area. We can refer to Malutia Pofung, renewable energy plants that we continue to work with Infrastructure South Africa, and many others as well. Partner District with the Development Bank of South Africa, been very critical. We implementing the integrated coordination mechanism between the 3 spheres of government to try to deal with this compartmentalization that we actually see in terms of the implementation of service delivery, and therefore the DDM becoming very important for us. We also do have, we are in the process of finalizing the Free State Growth and the revised Free State Growth and Development Strategy, is also the Provincial Special Development Framework. We participate in terms of the development of the one plans with DDMs, your LEDs, your IDPs. We continue to guide those processes at the level of municipalities. And finally, we are saying that on page 5, monitoring and evaluation, we continue to play this very important role of analyzing and trying to understand what are some of the hindrances insofar as the performance in different departments is actually concerned, insofar as what is actually indicated in the APP in terms of the targets that they've actually set for themselves. But what is very important is really the SONA SOPA budget votes injunctions. And this is the picture that we want to present to the honorable members in the latest report. We are saying a total of about 30 of the targets have been achieved. And this covers, it's very important to emphasize, the entirety of the Free State provincial government. And therefore, things such as your Makufe and many others have also been attained. But we're saying about 160 at the time of reporting were on track to be achieved. But also 245 had no substantial progress with implementation. And clearly part of the reflective work that we also need to begin to do is not, that progress is actually not there, but it's not as substantial as we would also want to see it. We're sitting at 93 which have no progress at all, and much of these would refer to your issuing of title deeds, making sure that we release government land as we've also promised, and also the upgrading of informal settlements. This is part of the ongoing work that we still have to do. So in terms of the deviation, honorable members, I might just, with your permission, honorable chair, go to page 8 to begin to say what is that we have faltered on. And this really refers to, as you would see, honorable members, we were hoping for a favorable audit opinion. Unfortunately, we're sitting at a qualified audit opinion, and audit action plan is actually being implemented. But at the same time, report on the implementation of internal audit recommendations. No follow-up audits were scheduled for this quarter, and this would actually be done in the following quarter, honorable members. With your permission, honorable chair members, I might then hand over to Dr. Ulusu just to do the annual report. Thanks.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, Honorable Premier, Acting DG, thanks for this. So we want to present then the annual report 24-25, the audited results in terms of non-financial performance. In terms of the first slide, in terms of the summary of progress, the department planned 93 performance measure indicators, and out of that, 85 were achieved, which then gives us at 91%. So just a quick reminder that with the annual report, when you've achieved in quarter 1 your target, quarter 2 you've achieved your target, quarter 3 and 4 you did not achieve, the total is for the annual report is you haven't achieved on that indicator. So yes, that is this the principle applied. Chair, if I can go into program 1, in terms of the overall, there's just one deviation, and that is in terms of a proxy indicator in the Office of the Director General, which then talks to the achievement of a favorable audit opinion, which we unfortunately did not achieve. Then, if we then go in terms of program 2, the outline there, the number of sub-programs and so on, they've achieved their planned targets, total planned targets of 50, and with overall 100% achievement. I think just maybe to highlight is in terms of the Free State Training and Development Institute, yes, they had an annual target of 56, and they have then reported as per the portfolio of evidence that they've actually delivered 150. So the indication is that its demand has increased for the new Quality Council for Traders in Occupation course qualifications being rolled out. So that is the increase. We will obviously look at with the in the APP and so on in terms of the overall target setting in that regard. But it is a bit difficult to because it's demand driven. Then if we go and look at program 3, Honourable Chair, if one looks at the overall summary, in terms of special programs, quite a number of deviations, and then in terms of intergovernmental relation, a small one deviation. So the background, so maybe if I indicate in terms of the indicators, the one it's on the government buildings assessment, complying with disability access guidelines in intervention measures recommended. Annual target was 4. Audited output is then 2, and And then I want to deal with the other one as well. It's the report on the provincial forum meetings on transversal issues to advance the rights of women, youth, people with disability, and older persons. So planned for and audited output of 1. So, and the deviation is there being indicated that the department's performance management system were not fully applied. And also we're reflecting there in terms of the critical shortage of staff. So in this circumstance, both indicators, quite a number of this work being performed by people being on a contract, yes, that contracts came to an end. So we still try to do this work, but we could not effectively perform that. The contract workers were subsequently reappointed in I think in the 4th quarter, some of them. So unfortunately, in terms of reporting and oversight, even if you've achieved it in 3 quarters, you've achieved the work, unfortunately that indicator counts as not achieved. So that is why it is also low in that regard. Then the other aspect in terms of the indication that the department's performance management system were not fully applied. So in our discussions with the AXA, so a report was prepared and it speaks to some of the mainstreaming activities, but in a specific quarter, the component did not necessarily address women, people with disability, older. They don't address all those issues in 1 quarter, but they might have addressed only 2. Although the component felt like they've performed on that as per requirements, AG's view was that, sorry, that is not, that cannot be taken as performance. It's not full achievement, so they are actually linking it then to the performance management system not fully achieved. The other indicator, Chair, is the report on engagements between Premier and House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders. The target was 2, audited output 1. And the reason for that is that not all these meetings could take place and discussions, and that some of them will be scheduled to a different date. So it did not happen in that period. Chair, if I can then move to program 4. There's a indicator, number of analysis reports, interpretation of the medium-term strategic framework. So what has happened here is this component has shifted their resources towards prioritizing the finalization of the 30-year review report. That was the instruction that we got from the DPME. And then, so this high-level assignment required substantial technical input, coordination, and time investment, which resulted in not then achieving this target. And then also the component is then also busy with the drawing up of the medium-term development plan, which is then replacing the MTSF. The other one is relating to the provincial evaluation plan. I think we have reported in the various quarters of the 24-25 that the request was made to departments in terms of compiling a provincial evaluation plan, and it was mixed responses in terms of actual requests for studies to be done. So unfortunately, yes, planned 3 but achieved 1. But the component M&E is in the process of finalizing that plan. The other indicators, Honourable Chair, it's then relating to the number of reports on government priority campaigns and number of reports on incomplete and slow-moving government projects for socio-economic infrastructure and service delivery. So planned 4 achieved 3, planned 2 achieved planned for and achieved too, yeah. I think this is in the same applies that what I explained in program 3, that this program was also affected by the ending of contract workers contract, and so not all aspects were necessarily attained for all 4 quarters, and that resulted in actually in a deviation. Chair, I think that is from my side. Thanks.
Thanks. Oh, thanks. Thanks. You made it on time. Honorable members, those are the presentations. Can you engage? Ndate Usangu, Ndate Makai, Ndate Van Vieren, Ndate Kute, Ndate Venar, Ndate Usangu. Yes.
Chair, let me welcome the presentation by the Office of the Premier, the leading office in the province of Free State. I see as far as gender equality is concerned, as far as management is concerned, there have been some improvement as far as representation is concerned, but we remain worried about young people because Free State has become younger, Premier. In terms of population, we have many young people with skills whom they must find expression in this office. More so, as is the first respondent in the province of Free State. When you have young people in their large numbers, that's why we must see that you them represented in the same office. It even makes me wonder. I've listened to the presentation, the whole of it. Less is said about young people. We hear about the disabled, of which it's a good thing that women and young and the disabled, those who are challenged, their issues are taken into consideration. But equally, young people, they represent the future. If we don't invest in them, then it will mean that we do not value the future from here. The other issue, Chair, that I will want to raise, having listened to the presentation, is that on issues of administration, the reason we could not reach target is because posts such as the one of the DGA was not yet advertised. We must be told why is it not was not yet advertised, because you are resourced even than before to perform on such positions, premiers, on such matters. I do not understand why are we behind in terms of appointing your DG and others. Even on graduates, engineer graduates, interns, I do not understand. Can we get more explanation? Because we've heard this story before of appointing engineers, and then I think, if my memory serves me well, Ndate Khwabane, this story we heard the first term, we're told about the issue of appointing engineers, and was still told that the performance of the office of the premier partly is affected by non-appointment of those engineers. We'll want to know why, because it shouldn't be a problem when you are resourced to perform at that level. And then I listened to Dr. Mokolobe spoke about there's the issue of payments on within 30 days. We shouldn't get excited about only knowing that payments were made within 30 days. Who are benefiting out of this? Are people of Free State, are young people, are women, are disabled people benefiting out of this thing? If it's not, then it's a problem. How many Africans in particular, blacks in general, those who are motive forces, who stand to benefit from the transformation, how many are benefiting out of this, particularly from Free State? This is what we must be preoccupied with. We must not just get excited that money gets paid, but in majority, when you are to check, this money is getting paid where? Outside the province of Free State. We'll want to know. And as to whether, as you pay, does this money addresses issues of transformation? Premier, you made bold statements about empowerment of women, especially through procurement. We'll want to know, maybe we must consciously, part of your report consciously must talk to issue of empowerment of women in Free State. We need to know, as far as targets that you spoke about, how many people managed to be empowered as far as the programs that we were talking about are concerned. And we're told about Makufe. Yes, we must acknowledge we had Makufe this year, but it was poorly planned. I think this was the worst Makufe ever out of Makufe events that we had before. So we must not celebrate it, but at least there was an endeavor to restart Makufe. But it was poorly planned. It was the worst Makufe. We must not even celebrate it. We must be ashamed of celebrating the event, because it was not of a proper a good quality. But also, this thing of issuing, I heard Dr. Mokolobe speaking about issuing of title deeds. What is so difficult about issuing title deeds, Premier? Because every time when we go for local government elections, when we go for provincial, national elections, that's when people get title deeds. And when you go to these offices, even local offices, where these title deeds are there in bulks, waiting for elections. It's more like these title deeds are being used for electioneering purposes. And if it's like departments in local municipalities, this key office in our province must be fully capacitated. It has every necessary resources to be capacitated. I think we must be told, why are you not getting clean audit? You are running a coordinating department. It should not be difficult to achieve clean audit. Why Premier and your management are not achieving clean audit? Can we be taken into confidence? How long will it take you to achieve a clean audit? Because it's not difficult. It's more like running a district municipality. It's not a complicated thing to run, because you are coordinating. You are not actually dealing with service delivery. You are not at the call phase of change. You are simply coordinating. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Dr. Veron. I think what I'll do, I'll give you 5 minutes for question.
Thank you very much. I think Honorable Msimanga has covered many of us. Thank you for the presentation by the Office of the Premier. Chair, yes, just firstly on the annual financial statements, 5 years going now that the department has obtained a qualified opinion as the leading office in the province. I think it must be the office that obtains a clean audit and sends out the message about sound financial management and the service delivery that goes with sound financial management. So I think my call through you, Chair, to the Premier would be to action the audit action plan and get a clean audit and set the tone for the other departments. But what is very concerning in terms of what the Auditor General says is when it comes to the compliance to legislation on procurement and contract management. When it comes to, for one, let's say, inflated prices on some of the service providers and the goods procured. And it's a very long list if one looks to the report on procurement and contract management. So it's one of those red flags that needs to be looked at, and that the committee would also have to look into as we progress through the quarters to see what is being done in terms of contract management and compliance with procurement. I know there's that Hawks investigation for Q1 of 2024 that's going on, about 5 million that was spent on youth affairs. So I'm wondering if that perhaps does not relate to some of those goods and services acquired. Chair, then in terms of the matter on disability and so forth, the Free State has the highest level of disability prevalence in the entire country. The Free State, and that's 2011 census and 2022 census says that the Free State has the highest prevalence of disability. So I would actually like the Office of the Premier to investigate this to see, is this the case due to birth, or is this a prevalence that later transpires amongst our people in the province due to perhaps medical care and so forth. But we have to look at addressing the issues and the challenges we have with people living with disabilities, noting we have the highest prevalence of that in the whole of the country. Then in terms of the FSTDI, it's wonderful to see that we are making investment in further learning and teaching, but I really do hope that we will then see value for money in that in what we are spending in terms of increased service delivery and financial management in the province. It's one thing to go and train people, it's a different thing to actually see that impact, and I think we must actually pay some extra attention to the individuals who have received training to see how the performance is going. And then just something that we've discussed in the past was about the websites in the province. This is now away from the financial, for the financial side, the annual financial statements, is the website of the province that the Premier previously noted that we are in the process of upgrading our websites because access to information is very, very important to the people of our province. But we have this thing of outdated websites. The photos are all, the information isn't there, it's not available. Because just an indication to see how far we are on that revamp of our websites. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. van Vuren, and come this.
Thank you, Chair. Let me welcome the presentation. Yeah, I've also been covered by many of the questions. Mine is just on the look. The department is not a non-service delivery department. So, and now, according to the report, we see that you've got an overdraft of about 45 million rand. There's legal claims, which maybe you can explain to us what it is, of 7.8 million. So what I don't understand, there's also it's going to be an overspending on your CDWs of about 9 million this year. So maybe we must, Chairperson, perhaps take a resolution. These 11 of the 5 departments we've seen are far the most. Points incorrectly allocated, calculated, incorrect supplier, 1 contract. Financially, you're not managing it. Let me just check. Yeah, I think I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm vastly covered by my colleague on the side here, but I have to admit one of those weaknesses really worry me. There's a mandatory requirement by CETA that things be done according to CETA. If it was done according to CETA, this wouldn't happen. It seems at the moment you've got a cookie jar in the middle of the room and everyone can just come stick their hand in it and take whatever they need, and you end up with irregular and wasteful expenditure going all over the place. The non-compliance in most cases has been consecutive for 3 years. Now, for a department that runs everything, I want to know why your financial statements weren't done according to the MCS system. Why did it not comply? What steps have you actually taken to recover any of this money, and what steps have you done to prevent the irregular wasteful expenditure? Are you actually doing something about it? It seems that between your goods and services department and your procurement department, there's a lack of communication. And that is the reason for a lot of your over expenditure, people getting paid, prices too high. It seems that you can just, there's no control. So I want to know, how is your internal control measures? What have you put in place to change this? Or have you got any? How transparent is it? Because what systems have you implemented to monitor the progress made towards achieving the target's core objectives and service deliveries? And let me just check. Almost done. Right, sorry, and that's the other thing. With all 3 years consecutive non-compliance, what disciplinary steps have been taken to change this, or have been taken against the officials who have incurred these things and irregular and wasteful expenditure as well as non-compliance? What has been done? We've heard from one of the other departments that the senior management and certain of the staff have been got audited. They've even fired one. They've taken others to court. They've got criminal charges. They're cleaning up their department. So I want to know, what has your department done? Have you done anything? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Premier, thank you for the presentation to the department and from the Premier side. I just want to find out, you are the head of the executive. So do the MECs report to you? And if they do, how often? And is it in written form? And then to what extent can you intervene? Because numerous departments sit before the PROPAC committee and they report that their targets aren't met. They've either overspent or they've underspent. They are not paying their third parties. This week, I again got a complaint of a school's electricity that was cut because their bill wasn't paid. So what's your role in all of that? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Premier, we sat with the Auditor General yesterday, and that's why we are referring to Auditor General matters as well. One of the issues that the Auditor General raised, and I think it's one of the recommendations they are making, is to say, and I think that connects with what Honourable Leach is saying, that there should be performance management agreements with MECs. Are there such agreements currently, and if not, are you looking into that? Because I think that's vital to ensure that MECs also are held accountable in a certain way. But also, it doesn't assist if you have a performance agreement management, but that MEC is not held accountable, and that's important. No system will improve that. The accountability is where the change will come. There was mention of the evaluation plans with the departments, and then it felt like the feedback was not good from the departments. Can we just get some clarity on that? Was it a situation where the Premier's office said, listen, we want feedback from you, and they did not provide feedback? So what happened there? And then, yes, the Auditor General also alludes to, dysfunctional municipalities. Currently, what we see in the Free State, it's actually, it feels like in many municipalities, it's like we are doing crisis management in so many municipalities. I mean, we can name them now. Mafube municipality, Masolonyana municipality. Machabeng is a crisis for that matter. So sometimes I feel, and yeah, what I miss is that the sense of the rapid responsiveness. So I think residents of Mafube have been without water for more than 5 days already. But where's that rapid responsiveness? Because we need to crisis manage in that sense, because I mean people can't go without water. But also on local government, I mean there are so many challenges in local government. I mean, one, the economy of the Free State, people are under financial pressure. They can't, in many instances, pay for municipal services anymore. And I'm not saying they shouldn't, but that's the reality we are seeing. The decline in income from municipalities. Then simultaneously attracting and establishing new investors in that sphere of local government. And then we saw that during the two oversight weeks with National Department and ourselves, or National Assembly, non-compliance by municipalities, impacts not doing what they are supposed to be doing. Even municipal managers and CFOs who are not supposed to be doing what they are doing. And then a general council discipline in many municipalities. I mean, you can take Nala municipality for that matter, which is it's a difficult municipality currently to run. So those are your challenges. But from your side, from the Premier's point of view, what are you doing to improve the local sphere of government? Because, and I'm asking you this because a Premier can also only do so much. It's their own sphere of government, and you need to have respect for them. But certainly there must be certain things you are, together with COCTA, doing to improve municipalities. But currently it's not working. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session. Let me start with this one that has just been raised by our member Clinton. Our member, indeed, we have challenges the local government, and rightfully so. You are also alluding to the issue of that particular sphere of government being regulated. Indeed, we're trying our best. So far, I think we had about 3 sessions with different municipalities. Myself, there is the Office of the Premier, Treasury, and COCTA, where we went through, and it was even before they submitted their financial statement, in trying to push for compliance. And indeed, those engagements paid fruits, because we were only left with 2 municipalities that were very difficult to deal with, to a point where we had to intervene. And at that point, I think one of them was Maluti Apofu, where we had an intervention to second the person, CFO, so that we can be able to push that municipality and really comply. But we are continuing with that program where Treasury, COCTA, the Office of the Premier, are engaging with these municipalities. Remember, there are those that we identified, and at the level of administration, that's where we are, where we believe that there's a need for changes. But as you rightfully say, they are regulated. We are engaging with different municipalities just to find a way. In Mafube, we also intervene there by removing the municipal manager after having engagements with the communities there where they were raising a lot of concerns, and we identified someone that was also placed in that particular municipality. Nala, there's that intervention as well, and the one of Machabeng, I won't comment that much because we all know that it's still under that intervention where we managed to comply as well and reported to court through the cabinet, the EXCO intervention, where we went to court, and it was a matter of court to apply within stipulated time frames that were there. But indeed, Honourable Member, we will continue to work together with the team that is being seconded in all these municipalities. But every time you deal with other matters, other municipalities will start as well. Recently, we are busy with Mohokari as a new challenge. Now we thought there's an intervention there. We are also intervening more to take out some of the intervention personnel that we seconded there and make sure that we intervene as the province. And we had to even use court at some point to show them that indeed we are trying to bring stability in that particular municipality. And let me go back to where Honourable Member Simang. Yes, you've raised the issue, young people. Perhaps we did not highlight, and where the challenge is, my belief is that it's at a level of SMS where you don't see young people being employed. Remember, we still have the DPSA here, and it's very difficult for any graduate from school because it's regulated, it's law, there's nothing one can do unless we change policies, we change the laws. Any graduate from school who's young cannot apply for a post, and it's not the Free State province, it's not the premier's office, it's a national policy where you cannot take a graduate and take a graduate to a post of a director or a chief director without experience. When you look at adverts all the time, because remember, when we identify a post, we subject it to DPSA as well. They do that, what we call sort of verification. They go through an advert to see whether this advert here comply. And then out of it, you'll find all these adverts of senior managers, dinnerly 5-year experience a requirement. And it's not my making, but it's there. So you'll find those who are within the system already are the ones who are qualifying to be appointed on the basis that they are already in the system, and perhaps they got that 5-year into a requirement, they comply with that requirement. So it's a really challenging, Honourable Member, that we do want these young people. And deliberately, even this time around, when we sat with the management, I did indicate that as well, that it's very important that we move those that are within now to give them this post to appoint them at the level of directors. But I can assure you, that on these ones that are being advertised,
Premier,
the honourable members, sorry, my
respond
apologies.
to me.
Chairperson, my apologies, Chairperson, we're going to make sure that we do, but I wanted really to unpack this challenge so that members do understand that there are regulations really say long warranted day chairperson that we cannot move beyond. We'll just have to take them gradual, put them in the system, and they grow within the system, and that's when they can be appointed by direct from school and so on. That's where the challenge is. It's almost, I think, the Timaful will also explain the issue of the interns, the engineers. We know for you to be an engineer or be called a technician, you have to go through certain steps for you to reach. And this office is giving those graduates an opportunity to grow within so that they can be able to be called technicians later on. They'll be called engineers, but they cannot just be called engineers. It's like those attorneys that are doing articles somewhere. So this is the opportunity that we are giving to those graduates or students an impact because they are doing those practicals, and then we allow them to we actually disperse them to different municipalities where they're going to get this experience. So those are the challenges. But when you look at the special program itself, on our members, there are a lot of young people in that component, even from issues of disability and so on. And I'm happy that the disability component in the department, so far they had a session, they had a conference, a 2-day conference, where they invited all officials from different departments, public servants that are working for this provincial government from different departments. They had a 2-day conference where they were highlighting or engaging us as that are within the government system, but they are extending. I think it will be happening this week or next week. I'm not sure that time. Sorry, you'll correct me there. I know that I've approved that submission where they're having a summit now of people with living with disabilities. And indeed, honourable member raised the issue here, Free State, and I started to panic because from the experience of last week's accident, I'm just becoming more worried about more people that are going to live with disability in this province, because out of those people, survivors that are there from that accident of N8, mainly ba amputated maoto, most of them ba lemetse maoto. In fact, I can say how many of them are just going to be fitted those cases, but majority of them, those that were at Pelinomi, about 10 or 11 of them, obviously they'll be considered as disabled people very soon because of the kind of accident that they went through. Let me also, through you, Chairperson, correct what honourable member raised about why are we not advertising. The inputs, they were saying we advertised the post of DG on Saturday just to be within the time frames. We even had the interviews last week Saturday, honourable member. Yeah, it was last week Saturday, and candidates are now writing. I think this week, sometime this week, they were busy with competency test. So we have addressed that. Honourable member, it's not that we haven't advised. It has been advertised. The interviews took place, and now we're at that level where we'll be appointing the DG very soon. And the interns I've addressed. On the issue of people of the Free State benefiting in terms of the payment, I think, honourable members, we made a commitment as the 7th administration that we are going to make sure that people of the Free State benefit, and we are still on that. But remember, as the 7th administration, there are areas we are 1 year in office, 1 year, July, 1 year, a few months. You might find that there are those people who've been appointed previously. Perhaps they got a 3-year contract. They got, mainly it's 2 year. We can't be saying no, Arasaba Patala now because they're coming from Joburg and so on. But what we said, when we engage even the HODs and some officials, we need to be deliberate. But the challenge as well, honourable members, is that people claim to be from Free Staters when they are not really from Free State, using, and this is the message that I'm taking to communities of the Free State, stop giving people your addresses for them to benefit when they're not from Free State themselves. And I always make this example, what is this, Second Avenue, West Dean, where you find a lot of offices, blocks of offices where people just rent for a particular tender that has been advertised in the province and use that. And we said there's a need for us to verify before people, because constitutionally you cannot just discriminate and say we don't want that, but we must be deliberate at some point to say how do we come up and say 80-20% that 80%, how benefitable to our Free State, and 20. We know that it cannot be in black and white. We are legislators here and say we don't want people from outside. We have to have reasons and say, when you advertise, you did not say you want people from Free State. And we know even issue of supply chain management in a limit thing, and we cannot really deviate from that, but we really need to debate. But one example that I'll make is the one that we did with what is that Department of Manje. When they came to Exco and present the report, when I asked the department to come and present the land that we have in this province and why are we owing municipalities, what is that we can do to address the challenges that we're faced with? We found out that we still have properties that we don't utilize as government. We have land that we don't utilize as government. But remember, once that land is still registered under your name, you are still being billed by municipality rates and tax because it's your property. You still have to pay. So we sat down and said, you can't have this situation. Can't we get rid of the land that we don't use as or we don't need as provincial government, than having a land for more than 20 years but owing municipality rates and taxes because that building or that land belongs to you. And hence there's this summit that is coming next week where we are going to engage and work with a private sector. Say, we got pieces of land here. Those who are interested, how best can you utilize this and work with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. We are going to address some of these challenges. And deliberately, Honorable Chairperson, we said, Hare bue le batho ba Free State, they must be given a preference. Hare hlolea, that's when we can go out. But we believe we got capacity in this province. Let the people of the Free State own the land, own these properties that we don't utilize. And we even went further to say we need to go back, MEC, check who are these people that we are renting buildings from. Are they from Free State? Because you find that we are renting buildings, but those buildings, when you look at the lease agreement, these people are not even from here. They just took the property there, but the beneficiaries are not people from the Free State. That's where we'll have a challenge, Honorable Chair, where the Honorable Member is saying, are they benefiting? We find that you got a lease agreement, 9 years. What do we do? These people are not from the Free State, but you are already in that lease agreement. This time around, I haven't signed leases since my arrival here, because I said, go back. Let's go and check who are these people, because we found that out of even the leases that we have, when they present in Exco, it's red because this building lacks 1, 2, 3, but you continue to pay those people. 2, at some point, labor departments comes in and close the offices, you are not complying, but the department continues to pay. And why are you paying when your workers are working from home? So there's that team that we have set up and say, kindly investigate all these matters that are really affecting this. We are not just going to renew contracts of the people when we are not happy, and we are not happy with the conditions. And even I think you'll be able to assist me on that one. One other issue that I raised in Exco was to say, the contracts that we are having, these lease agreements, don't give us space to say, if I'm not utilizing your promises because labor came in, I cannot do 1 to 2. When you are not complying. So it's just an open book. We have just signed the agreement. So we said this time around, let's build a team with a team of state attorneys to assist us in making sure that when we enter into an agreement with a person, we'll also be able to protect government. As you can see that previously, when we go through these leases, we still have leases as far as 2006, it's on monthly basis. Why should we have that kind of situation? So that team is working on those issues to make sure that we have this clean government on our members. On the issue of women, as our member has just indicated, we are pushing really to have women and young women for that. And like I'm saying, there are areas where it's very, very difficult. For instance, let me make an example of over the weekend in terms of people who were selected to come to interviews. We identified even a woman who's living with a disability, but towards interviews, the day of interviews, a withdrawal. We had another woman, a withdrawal, and it was just beyond our control. We only had 1 woman when we placed about 3 women and perhaps 2 men, but they withdraw the last minutes. So there was nothing that one what could do. But honestly, we are still pushing for this transformation and empowering women, even in terms of what our member raised to build in contributing to the economic growth of this province. I take the criticism on Makufe. It was our first after a few years, and the budget that we had, and we agreed that we are not going to outsource. We are going to have this Makufe. Perhaps members in future will be able to contribute, and that. And I'm happy that on a member, when you wrap up, you say, okay, it was West, but hey, litikile inilika katsela yo e leng hore ke a lora. On the title deeds, Honorable Chairperson. In all the programs that we are having where we are taking services to the people, we do liaise with COGTA, we do liaise with municipalities, make sure that bring your people so that we can be able to issue out title deeds. You know, we cannot stop servicing communities on the basis of elections. We are servants of the people. Haebe ke kene parliamenteng being a premier in the 7th administration last year. So are we saying we must stop and wait until the 20 local government elections passes that we can render services to the people? No. As and when we are going to these communities, especially the office of the premier, taking services, these integrated services to the people, we are going to take even municipality along. Let me make one example on what 17 here in Mangaung. Municipality was there with boxes. I believe that the team from the office of the premier, Air Communication, can send those pictures to honorable members. Boxes. But people who were there to say, Kikokopa title deed. One has sold the house, about the title deed. The title deed is not yet in their names. They've moved somewhere else. So those are the challenges, some of the challenges during the time when we thought that we are using this integrated services to the people and addresses. We take these boxes. Others, honorable members, cannot be found because they left people in these houses. But when they come with house numbers do not correspond with the owner or the title deed holder. So that's where we are having serious challenges as well. But like I'm saying, we are moving in everywhere we are going. Sorry, my apologies. My apologies. That's not the way that it's all. So we are dealing with those issues that title deeds. And I'm also happy when we engage with the municipality of Mangaung, they made it their point that every Friday they go to different areas to issue out those title deeds. Like we said even in the last meeting, what honorable member referred to the case that is now being investigated by the Hawks, where there were purchases of something that from it was youth group or it was special program, young women. So he entertained Dr. Pera will expand on that one. And honorable members, as this office of the premier, we tried to attend to some of these challenges. And as I reported in the previous quota, that one of the interventions was even to remove the CFO. And as we all know that even members were complaining that the CFO was not even qualified enough to be in that position. And the intervention was that we also remove the CFO. The challenge here, FSTDI, the graduates compared to the work that you are doing, I think it's an opportunity that we really need to applaud, where we are having this 181 graduates within the provincial government. As we all know that most of them at the level, we even have NQF level 7 this time around. So it's a good thing, and it's one of those tools that we also use to motivate our officials to perform better, so that when opportunities prevails within the department, they are able as well to apply within. Because if you are at level 5 or 4, now you are graduating. So a lot of them were coming from different, especially agriculture and social development. When opportunities prevail, they'll be able to apply for higher posts. And ke nahana ke e nngwe ya dintho tse tshwanetseng ka mannete re thabele more than criticizing it. Yes, MECs do report in the in EXCO, where we have sessions where there are reports that we first take to FOHOT, and from FOHOT they come to EXCO as reports. And on the issue, yeah, the performance, yes, the last EXCO honor members, we agreed, and Tate Pera, I think, will unpack it as well, that there's a need now to have this performance of the MECs. And in J, I might also say, in the group, when members are raising concern of performance, we just make sure that even in the group now, I just check members, where are you? But weekly, they submit their schedule to the office of the Premier. That's a standard practice. And even when I look at those schedules, sometimes I even do advise to say, no, MEC, you've been to Machabeng 3 times. You are not the MEC of Machabeng. When are you going to visit Mafubi? When are you going to visit? So on the basis of their submission, on Friday, I received their weekly schedules, and I'm able to advise even over the weekend to have engagements with the MEC that, no, MEC, you cannot be going to this area. Now, when I look back at your schedules, I could see that you've been to these areas 4 times. When are you going to Harib? When are you going to Tokologo? When are you So those are engagements that I have, but generally there are those reports, like the report that I just make reference to, yeah, Me Manje, where they presented a report, and I felt, no, we cannot take this report now. Go back, go and audit this, present land, present areas, and then we can advise. And finally, we advise the outcome of that meeting is leading to the summit that we are going to have. Thank you very much, honorable members. I'll give to Acting DG.
Before you run away, Premier, I think the question of graduate engineers is just to maybe the DG, when in response to it, it's just for explanation, because last year you talk about absorption of those and distribute them to municipalities. It also appears now in your report. Whether is this the different group from that one? I think that's where the issue is. And then also on the issue that has been raised, Premier, on the performance agreement with MECs, is to say, as we look at performance of HODs and senior management in the department, the weak link might be executive authority. Does the executive authority has that performance agreement with the Premier, so that the Premier can then be hold the person accountable on that? I just wanted so that when the Premier runs away, at least you have this as a mofao to the the issue of the buildings, the non-compliance of buildings from as declared by Labour Department. Maybe because we have been raising this in our committees, especially that it has been affecting particularly a revenue generating department, roads and transport. What are those issues? Maybe that committee, it will then find out what are those critical issues that declares a building to be non-compliant. Maybe when the when the committee has worked on that at that time, then maybe if we can the department submit at least that issue to this thing to the committee. The other issue that the Premier that also came up was was that at least 5 of your departments are on overdraft. And the danger is that this may be a tendency that moving forward, more and more departments will have their budgets on overdraft. Maybe one of the things that the Premier must also look at as an oversight is the AG also raised the problem in relation to infrastructure, both infrastructure maintenance and construction of projects, that the Department of Public Works, there'll be a problem between Department of Public Works and the user departments. Sometimes where the Department of Public Works will be saying, even the budget of maintenance reside with the user departments, not with us, and such things, and such that there is this decision that the AG must coordinate a meeting between all these departments where they discuss, because when you have a meeting with this one blames another one who's not there, and that one, when he comes, he blames the one that has just left. So maybe if the Premier can assist the AG to facilitate such a meeting. The other issue that I just wanted to Premier to have these things before you leave. We had also said that engaging the municipalities, we will engage the Premier and especially the MEC for COGTA after we have engaged the municipalities. We have done that. We unfortunately for this year, we don't have a date available. We might probably have a date in January, February to engage on those issues that emerged out of engagement with municipalities. And one of the key issues that also was corroborated by the AG is on the issue of intergovernmental relations. Strengthening of that intergovernmental relations, both by the Department of